What is going on, everyone? Chris with Journos, Comics, and Pop Culture. Today we have our monthly video of top trending comics. This is for the month of April 2022. We got 5 hot books on the list today. We are going to get into these, but first and foremost, guys, we are still running a contest for my 10K subscriber giveaway. Yes, we are giving away this amazing Spectacular Spider-Man number 64, the first appearance of Cloak and Dagger, and a CGC 9.6 signature series signed by Ed Hannigan. Folks, all you need to do to have a chance to win this amazing book is make sure you are subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell, like the video, and comment below letting me know that you are subscribed, and then stay tuned until the end of the video for a trivia question where you can answer in the comics as well to get a second entry into winning this awesome book. All right, so bear with me, folks. I am recovering from a really bad head cold, but I do these videos every month and I had to come and make this. So if I sound a little stuffed up and snuffy, that's why. But here I still am making content for all of you folks. Now, one last thing before we get into the books, I want to remind you all that you can save 10% off of your comic book supplies by ordering through bcwsupplies.com. If you use the code JOURNOS, you'll receive 10% off of your order. Remember, you can use this code as many times as you need to. It never expires. All right, who's ready for the first book? Let's get into it. All right, guys, we know that Nova is hot ever since we got the announcement that, yes, a Nova live action, either film or maybe a Disney Plus show, we don't know those details yet, is going to be put into production. This is Nova 11 right here from 2016. It's the first meeting of Sam Alexander, Nova, and Richard Rider, Nova. Now, Kevin Feige has said in the past that, yes, Nova's going to show up in the MCU, and it's going to be both of them. So at some point, we're going to get both of them. I don't know how it's going to work out, but let's look at what this book's been doing. We have a current CGC 9.8 fair market value of not available. We have one from 3 years ago that's not available either, because you guys know I like to look at, 3-year plus or minus. But I know this book came out in 2016. Maybe nobody was really looking at this book. And this is one, and I talk about this often about like team ups or first time people meet each other. Those types of keys and key elements of a book are getting more and more popular. And being that both of these characters are going to show up in the MCU at some point, we're probably going to both see them on the screen together at some point. That's why this book is getting hot now. So, and look, I should have took my own advice. I don't even have this book. But this is what's important. We did have a recent high raw that hit $34 on March 28th, and we had the most units sold in March of 2020. So going into April, that's why it made the hot list, because it's moving units right now. And of course, we know why. So everything Nova right now has been absolutely hot. All right, moving on to book number 4, counting down. We have Amazing Spider-Man number 93, the Gleason variant. Gleason variants have been obviously hot for now a year plus. Has it been almost 2 years since Amazing Spider-Man 55? But he does amazing work with these covers. And this is also the book where Ben Reilly becomes Chasm. If that is going to hold, I can't tell you, but it has been moving units. And the price has been getting up there. We had a recent high raw of $40 just a couple days ago on April 6th. So, again, folks, I mean, if you're really into the Gleason variants and you're willing to spend, a premium on this book, then hey, that's your prerogative. But as I always say, I'm not here to tell you guys to buy anything. I'm just dropping some data, looking at the numbers, giving you some personal opinions. But I think this is one that can definitely cool off, just because the Ben Reilly character has just a very interesting past, and there's just so much riding on the line to really sit and say that, oh, this book is gonna hold up. I mean, they've killed this character off. I don't know how many times now he's come back. I don't know how many times. I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and I've been reading the run. I'm a few issues behind, and it's just like, I'm like, get on with it. I don't really care about this, so I don't know if a lot of other people have those types of feelings, but I know there's a lot of Ben Reilly fans out there too, so only time will tell. But for right now, it is moving numbers, and that is why it made the list. All right, book number 3 on the list today. What did you expect? More Nova action. This is Nova 1, Volume 1, obviously. First appearance of Nova, Richard Rider, the original Nova. Let's look at these numbers, folks. Current CGC 9.8 fair market value, sitting at about $2,650. 3 years ago, it was sitting at around $1,319. It's basically doubled in fair market value. That's a 101% increase. Recent activity. Why is this book on the hot list for the month of April? A recent high raw sold for $246 on April 5th. And we did see a record high CGC 9.4 sale of $575. So not only is this book moving units because of the Nova hype, but we are seeing record sales. This wasn't the only high grade or record high sale in grades. There was other grades, lower grades. I think there was a 7.5. They hit a record high as well. So the book's just moving all along. Again, you guys always have to be cautious when it comes to the movie hype. I mean, you missed the boat because we have an announcement now, but you have a feeling. You look at the trends and how this stuff works. Once we get a casting, these Nova books, or we get which Nova is going to show up first. And then we get a casting. That could propel these books even more. And then we get a trailer, could propel these books even more. So you got to be really careful dabbling into the market as a buyer right now. Just be very careful. Be patient. Wait it out. And the one thing I always like to say, look, work with your budget, folks. You don't have to go after a 9.8. You don't even have to go out after a 9.4. You don't even have to go after a graded book. Work with your budget, because low grade's better than no grade. There are lower and mid grades that present very well. And if it's just something that you want because you love the character and you want something that can provide a return on investment, if a book is moving on the market, it's going to be moving in any grade. I've talked about that a lot, but that's all I'll state for now. So really happy to see Nova getting some love, because I've been talking about him for many years now. All right, we're going to the second book. We're counting down to number 2 on the list. We got some Darth Vader action. Darth Vader, number 6 from the 2017 run. This is the first full appearance of Grand Inquisitor. Obviously, there's a lot of talk of the Grand Inquisitor showing up in the live action properties on the Disney Plus show, with the Obi-Wan show coming up. I cannot wait for that show. So we have a current CGC 9.8 fair market value of $527. Nothing on the census from 3 years ago, so we can't really compare a plus minus ROI. But a recent high raw did sell for $115 on March 31st. Wow. I'm telling you all, these Star Wars books are... Star Wars fans and collectors are making a statement with these books. And again, although there's still the ebb and flow, there's still the risk involved in anything live action, that tends to the live action speculation. But still, I think when you're looking long term, even though there may be short term up and downs, Star Wars is here to stay when it comes to these comics. Be careful with the 9.8s, as I always say. This is one that you could definitely look for a high grade raw if you're in the market for it. And look through the back bins for this book. Look through the back bins. It's your local LCSs, all right? Okay, our top book on the list. We got one more, but before we do so, folks, I do want to take less than 60 seconds to talk about today's sponsor, PopCultureZone.com. PopCultureZone.com is an online shop focusing on hot new comics, including exclusive and incentive variants, CGC graded comics, and tons of other inventory, including pop culture toys and other collectibles, all at low and competitive prices. PopCultureZone.com ships all over the US, and if you are buying raw comics, they offer flat rate shipping of only $4.99. That's right, $4.99. Absolute craziness, right? And there's no taxes included, excluding New Jersey. Pop Culture Zone is also on eBay, where they hold a 100% positive feedback rating with over 8,000 1,000 completed transactions for this year alone. Make sure to check out the link to their website below, as well as their eBay link, so be sure to give them a follow there as well. All right, everyone. What is the top hot trending book on the list for the month of April? It is Voltron, #1. Dun dun dun. Okay, I'm gonna be totally off tune if I try to hum. Bum bum bum. Bum 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 bum. All right, you guys got me humming and singing here. Huge Voltron fan. I talked about this book on the comic book canon and in our props or flops last week. I gave the book props. First appearance of Voltron in comics, and this book has just been moving like crazy. It's been moving in terms of units, and it's been moving in terms of value. Current CGC 9.8 fair market value is sitting at about $649. 3 years ago, sitting at about $150. That's a 333% increase in value. Money, man, that's intense. But of course, we got the announcement of a live action property for Voltron, and I did talk about a little bit last week on the top 10 props or flops that you got to be careful with this, because although I do think this is a long-term investment, hands down. I talked about the nostalgia piece, that these are becoming vintage nostalgia books when you look at Transformers #1, Voltron #1, the first appearance of Thundercats in comics, of all these things. But for the short term, the ebb and flow and the the risk involved in this book, the volatility comes down to who's going to be handling this live action property, because we don't want it to be like a Power Ranger movie. It has to do its thing as it should. If something happens where it turns into a Power Ranger movie, the price of this book can really kind of jump back down, at least for the short term. But I do believe in this book long term, hands down. We had a recent high raw sale, though, folks, of $225 on April 3rd. Wow. I do have this book that I've had since I was a kid. I think it's a higher grade, but I don't think it's like near mint. But I haven't looked at it in a long time, so I might want to look at this and maybe think about getting it graded. Who knows? But much love for Voltron. Happy to see Voltron's first appearance in comics doing such amazing things. I'm very optimistic for this live action property, but fingers crossed, and I'll be following all the details as it unfolds and transpires. So those are the books for the month of April, folks. Let me know what you thought of the books in the comments below. But before we go, a couple things. Now remember, we're giving away that signed CGC Signature Series Spectacular number 64, first appearance of Cloak and Dagger. We have a trivia question. But before I get to the trivia question, I have to give a big shout out and thank you to all of my Patreon supporters for supporting me month after month. Thank you guys so much. If you are interested in becoming a Patreon member, check out the link below. It's only $3.99 a month. You get extra perks, early access to videos, random giveaway prizes as well, and all other kind of fun stuffs. Monthly Q&A, Patreon-only video. Check that out if you're interested. And, of course, a big shout-out to my YouTube channel members, which is only $1.99 a month, by clicking that join button below, and you get extra perks and random giveaways there as well, and early access to some videos as well. So, lastly, before we go, folks, here we go. Trivia question for an extra entry to win this amazing giveaway. Voltron was the #1 book on the list today. And the trivia question is this: who was the voice that narrated the introduction to the original Voltron cartoon? Leave your answers in the comments, folks. Thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Be well, and until next time.